Okay, so I guess I'll make this video about something I've been wanting to talk about for a little while. So this is going to be about the misconception that rich kids don't get abused and that the more money you have, apparently that just means that the family is like wonderful, or that you should just ignore all the issues in the family because you should be grateful that you're rich. And hopefully I'll stay on topic, but I want to start this off with saying one thing I've noticed is that people who are jealous will commonly like talk junk to any kids with a nice house that says that they've been abused, because people just assume that because your house is nice that means you're rich, even though it doesn't even mean that anyway. So I just wanted to put that out there because I've seen stuff like that where someone's been like, you claim that your life is so bad, but look at how big your house is, or just the house being nice, period. And that supposedly means that no abuse happens or that nothing bad has happened. For one, actually, no, let me not even say that. Okay, so now I'm about to start. So, people like to say stuff like, if you're, well, actually, no. Let me not even say people. Let me start with something my mom's boyfriend said before, which, of course, he always has some crap to say. But I'll start off with this. So, one time, he just started talking about this out the blue, and he was like, rich kids will be ungrateful and they'll claim that their parents are mean, that their dad's a jerk. And my mom's boyfriend was like, of course your dad would be a jerk because he's rich and he knows that he has stuff that a lot of people don't have. And so that's just something I wanted to say. And so now to go into like the real point, this is sad because I'm already like forgetting what I'm supposed to be saying specifically. Cause that was supposed to like lead into the next thing I had to say, but like now I can't remember how I was supposed to do it. I probably should just start writing scripts for all the videos though, so that way I'll remember. Cause those are the only videos where I don't go off into irrelevant stuff or just forget what I'm talking about. Okay, so for one, let me just go ahead and say this since I can remember that I was supposed to say this at some point. Rich families, those are the ones where they'll sex traffic their kids, or where they'll have their own little reality show where the parents are at the club all day, every day, or in a studio or something, while the kids are at home by themselves doing who knows what. And then, what else was it? Or there'll be the kids where the dad left to try to escape the crazy mom, and then the mom gets with another dude who has a lot of money, which is sometimes how they become rich in the first place, because the mom marries some rich dude or cheats on the dad with the rich dude, or the real dad of the kid, leaves and escapes, or some stepkids come in, which this can happen in any type of dysfunctional family system really, where sometimes because of dating everybody and all that, step siblings will come in, sometimes not even for a long period of time, and then they won't even like the abusive parents' kids, or well, not even the abusive parents' kids. Both the parents could be abusive. The step kids just, they'll be step siblings, but they won't like each other. And I've had a couple of situations with my dad where I've had temporary step siblings and stuff like that. Although I wouldn't say that any of them really didn't like me. I wouldn't even say that. But I do know that my younger siblings, the two who live with me now, with their dad, they've had situations where they've had step siblings that didn't like them and stuff like that. But yeah. So it's like people, really because of jealousy, they'll always have something to say about rich kids and how they shouldn't even comment on their abuse because at least they had money. As if just because a parent is rich, that means that the kid is going to have stuff or even get what they're supposed to have and basic needs met, because it really doesn't mean that at all. Because I mean, there's those situations where the parents are already rich and then they force their kid into the spotlight and have their kid making YouTube videos and Netflix series that they don't even want to make, like what happens a lot in Hollywood, and I'm pretty sure the music industry too, but the people in the music industry just never speak on it, like how people in Hollywood, like Jeanette McCurdy, would eventually speak on it, because I never really hear people coming out of the music industry admitting that their parents are what forced them into making music. But yeah, so those are the parents that'll try to like live through their kids because they want them to do what they, well, quote unquote, they want them to do what they couldn't do, so they'll force their kid to do stuff that the kid doesn't want to do, but the parent wanted to do and probably still could do if they would just not be lazy and do it. So they force their kids to do it, or they just want to make money off their kid, and so they force their kid to have different little social medias and make money off of them. But then people will come and they'll be like, well, at least you have a lot of social media attention and you're making a lot of money, as if the money's even going to the kids anyway. Because that's one of the craziest things about it. Just because the parent is rich doesn't mean anything when it comes to the kid, because that's the parent's money. People under 18 have no rights, so they're not getting any of the money. I mean, just like if it was a social security check or something, the money goes to the parent, not the kid. So it wouldn't matter how much money the parent is making. It's not the kid's money. But there's this, I wouldn't even, honestly, I shouldn't even call it a misconception, because really, it usually is just about jealousy. People will say stuff like, well, at least your parent kept you from failing in life and becoming poor and hungry and addicted to drugs like I am. Because a lot of the stuff that people say, especially when it's in response to like an abuse victim or survivor coming out, it's about jealousy and just personal stuff. And they're speaking from like little stuff they have going on within themselves. And it's not even really about the victim or survivor at all. But it's still out-of-pocket comments. Which reminds me, there was something I was supposed to say, but now I can't even remember what it was. There was also some stuff I was supposed to say about the sex trafficking too. Because that's, well, depending on how much money they have, that's common. I mean, of course, poor people will like prostitute their kids out, but prostitution, sex trafficking, and then sex trafficking, like what people are usually talking about when they say sex trafficking, isn't just prostitution. It's a lot of other stuff with that. But it'll be the rich parents who like sex traffic their kids, and then rich or poor, they will like prostitute their kid. Because I've heard some stories and stuff like that. Like I heard this one story of this person, they're still trying to like piece together repressed memories to figure out if they were being prostituted, because they were like, they remember their mom making them go to different random people for quote unquote checkups, and then she would have money, and then she would take the kid to McDonald's, which they didn't even like McDonald's, but she would take the kid to McDonald's as like a hush apology gift bomb type thing. Like, wait a minute, I'm tying my shoe. So, oh yeah, and then like the scandal stuff that commonly comes with rich families, where like the dad was a scammer and the mom is a prostitute, or the dad and mom are a prostitute, or they're porn stars or something, and the kids are really traumatized by the stuff that their parents do. Because people think that just because someone is rich, that means that everything's just fine and dandy, but really, the rich kids could go through a lot more different types of abusive things sometimes than someone who's doesn't have that much money, or they're just poor completely. In fact, I've seen a lot of really poor families that were like the best families. Not that that's always the case. I mean, it depends on the situation, obviously. But Like, I guess I could use some propaganda because my mom was just watching this on TV because that's the type of stuff that she likes to watch. So, like, wait a minute. I don't think their last name is Jenner. No, there's a first name Jenner. The Kardashians, whatever in the world. So, yeah, that thing with the sex tape, and then she was like, her son supposedly found out because he seen it on Roblox or something. That's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. When I say just because someone's rich, it doesn't mean that there's no trauma and abuse or just bad things that happen, and that they won't have any bad experiences to talk about, because people will commonly try to basically try to force you to only talk about the good things or things that are seen as good, and then they just want you to be quiet about the bad things because they're jealous. Because like I mentioned before in another video, where especially before the defects case in March, no, it started in February, but March 28th, wait a minute, no, 2/23/22, that's when defects snitched about the videos, and then on the 20th is when my older sister had deleted them. So especially back before the other channels got deleted, there would be people that would come to me and they'd be mad and they talk junk to me because they're jealous that I'm brave enough and willing to take the risk of even making videos about the situation, which I didn't even make the videos for social media purposes. Like I said plenty of times before, the original reason I even ever started making the videos was just because I wanted to have somewhere to put the videos where even if I didn't have access to my email or device anymore, if I was to find someone willing to help, they would be able to just look them up from their phone. That was the original thought process when I was 14 and I made the channels, which now I know that didn't mean jack diddly. That was actually stupid, but still, it wasn't even for other people. But people will still get on there and say stuff like, I haven't even seen too much of anything bad happen, and I feel like my situation is worse. I didn't make the videos for people to compare situations, for me to compare situations. I honestly don't even think that my situation was all that bad, although most of it's repressed memories now anyway. But people just get jealous over anything. They're mad at me because I'm willing to talk about the situation. I'm willing to take the risk of making videos, but they're scared, so they're sitting around. I mean, not that there's really anything anybody else would do anyway, because I'm not trying to guilt trip anybody, but since they want to come at me crazy, I'm just gonna say they're scared to try to get help or to make any proof or evidence of it or get any evidence, so they'll come and talk junk to me, or they would, because I haven't got any comments since. I don't think I've really gotten any comments on the Part 6 channel. I didn't even really get any on the Part 4, I don't think. But yeah. So really, some advice that I could give for anybody is, don't let all these jealous perpetrators guilt trip you for talking about your situation and all that. Because I mean, most of the people that are talking junk about abuse survivors anyway are perpetrators themselves. Like the people, when they see someone talking about their sexual abuse or whatever, the people that'll come and say stuff like, oh, just get over it already, I'm tired of people always talking about it, they probably are a child molester and they're tired of their victims speaking out. That's what I've noticed about a lot of people that'll come talking crazy. Or when you've been through abuse by medical professionals, and if you talk about that, there are people that'll come in the comment section or in person, if you're talking about it in a group of people or whatever, and they'll be like, well, not all medical professionals are bad, or the whole medical system isn't like that, or the medical system isn't built off eugenics, and I'm not racist, and I have black friends, and that's just what people like to do to gaslight. Or they'll be like, well, there's no anti-cardiology, so why should there be anti-psychiatry? And it really offends me that you dare to talk about your abuse that you went through in the medical system, or if you went through like some type of like a sex trafficking or sexual abuse, like with the I don't know, that's not a good example. I don't think that was a good example. I was about to say something about like the Olympic teams were like the Olympic trainers or whatever you call the people were training the kids, but they were sexually abusing them. But that's not, I don't think that was going to be a good example. I'm trying to think about something else I could use. Or when people try to say you're just using your situation to try to like make everybody in a certain field look bad, and you need to see the world through a bigger lens and see the world as the beautiful, bright, wonderful place it is. There's always a crazy comeback somebody will have to say for anybody speaking the truth about anything. It doesn't even have to be an abuse situation. Just if you're talking truthful about anything that goes on in the world, there's always crazy comebacks that people have to say. Like I remember one person, this was like a while ago, this one person had inboxed me talking crazy, and they were talking junk to me, and they were like, you know, you should just, it was something like emancipation is hard and you should just be easy on your relatives, and everybody makes mistakes. Something crazy. It was something crazy. And then I was like, what did I say? Oh, and they were like, you don't even meet the requirements. Because at that point in time, I had 2 jobs. Even the second job wasn't really working out. And I was like, I do have a job. And then they were like, well, you still need more than... Actually, no. That was more than one person that said that. Either way, they inboxed me talking crazy. And then they didn't like my response about how I didn't agree with them. And honestly, they really should just leave me alone. I don't even know why I responded in inbox. I shouldn't even be telling them to leave me alone because I could have just blocked them. And they were like, well, maybe your mom is right. And maybe you are just mean or rude or whatever in the world. But yeah, people will also try to use your situation against you whenever they get mad at you about something. Because I've seen a lot of stuff like that. Like where this one dude, he was, I don't even know why he started saying a whole bunch of white supremacist backwards mindset bullcrap in the anti-psychiatry sub anyway, but we were talking about the cash for kids system and like the racial parts, because all of these, dang, I'm kind of choking, all of these systems started off of eugenics and white supremacy, but now they just use it to abuse kids of all types of ethnicities. But you can tell which people really have the better parents by who's not in there. I've never seen an Indian kid in any of these systems. But anyway, I just wanted to say that for a second. Anywho, so still, he started saying some white supremacist bullcrap, and somehow, some way, he started bringing up Native Americans supposedly eating people, even though they weren't the ones that were eating people anyway. And he was like, they were the savages and all that. And I don't even know why that got brought up anyway. And then I was like, first of all, you guys are the ones feeding people's babies to alligators. And you guys are the ones cooking people. And he was like, first of all, why would the Europeans be eating people? Why would the Native Americans be eating people then? If that's what you want to question. But then he got mad and he started talking junk. And then, no, wait a minute. No, not that situation. It wasn't that one. It wasn't even that one. It was something else. Oh my gosh. My memory is bad. But I think that was like one of the times where somebody tried to like flip my situation on me. And basically people would be like, well, maybe you are just a bad kid, or maybe you are crazy just because you don't agree with their crazy mess that they have to say. So that's why I learned to just not even talk about my situation that much. Well, for one, I stopped talking about it once I started piecing everything together, and I no longer had cognitive dissonance, because once you realize that everything is exactly how you've been seeing it, and that things really were that bad, you realize that you don't really feel like talking about it that much anymore, because you're not trying to like piece everything together and understand it. But also, people will try to use your situation against you. People will try to use really anything they can against you. And then plus, manipulative people will try to like use your weaknesses and then act like they care and act like they're not like the other people that you told them about. And then they'll start doing the chameleon effect and stuff. And then you end up in a bad situation, which I think that's what I got myself in, but I still can't really tell. I think I got myself into something like that at Job Corps, but I don't know. But basically, that's what I was trying to say with that little terrible example given, where I can't even really remember who said what and what happened when with who. I mean, I've been in a couple of situations that were pretty similar. So, and I've met a couple of similar people. I sometimes get stories mixed up with which person did what. Sometimes, like, I was kind of like out after daydreaming about, or that I consider flashbacks. Either way, it was about something that happened, and I was thinking about Miss B, the abusive staff member from the special ed self-confined placement, and then the crazy cult lady. And I had got something they said mixed up. I can't remember what it was, but I was just thinking about it. And I actually realized how similar Miss B from the special ed self-confined punishment placement for quote-unquote bad black kids and the voodoo cult lady was. They were actually really similar. And honestly, there's a lot I could say about that. Which I should probably make a video about that, the similarities between Miss B and the voodoo cult lady that tried to kidnap me and baptize me into the cult within the first few minutes of me living with her. Quote unquote living with her.